Do you wish you could finally find your husband? Isn't it frustrating to waste so much of your life on men who you know you're going absolutely well, we should say great. I was almost going to make the title of the show How to Find the Perfect Husband, but none of us are perfect, so I wanted to kind of make it a little bit more realistic, all right? But even though this is a really positive topic, we're going to start off with our first point that you're not really going to like, all right? I'm going to be honest with you. Let me write this clean. All right. Now, before you get all upset, I'm going to draw this out first, and then we'll discuss our first point, okay? Stick figures like always. This ain't art class. All right? And some of you guys always say, I want it to be curly hair. I want it to be straight hair. That doesn't look like my hair. Okay, well, today it's curly, all right? There you go. All right, so our first point is about looking inward. Now, I know this is not what you want to hear when I start talking about finding a good husband, but we have to come to this reality and understanding as it relates to relationships. See, see a man that you think has all the qualities that you're looking for, and we're going to describe criteria and qualities in a little bit, and you say to yourself, oh boy, I sees ya and I won't see ya. I'm going to put hard eyes here, like the kids do. I sees ya and I won't see ya. I want to be with you. I want to have you in my life. You need to be my man. You got everything I need, right? And that's great. And that's awesome that you can see a man and identify that he is what you need. But the reason I say the very first point is to look inward is because you also have to ask yourself a very important question. If the man that I was looking for actually found me, actually met me, and actually got to know me, would he say, I want her? And this might seem like, well, what do you mean, Thompson? Of course he would want me. I'm me. I'm like, there's no one else like me on this earth. I'm the only one with my fingerprint. I'm amazing. Why wouldn't he want me? Let's dig a little bit deeper here because I want you to really think about this. What you're probably going to be asking for is a man who's attractive, right? A man who's probably got money. You're going to have some physical traits like you want him to be tall, right? You want him to be outgoing, or we shouldn't even say outgoing, right? You just want him to be, we'll say, personable. Right? There's a lot of qualities that you're probably going to ask for when you're thinking about the man that you want to be your husband. Now, I want you to understand something. The things you want in a man actually make him a very attractive man. I'm not just talking about his looks. I'm also talking about make him attractive in general as an ideal partner to other women. So a lot of the qualities that you'll find that you find desirable in a man, in a husband, are qualities that other women are going to see or stumble across and find desirable in a husband, which means by association, you want a very desirable man. Now, why am I pointing out the fact that you want a desirable man? Because it's very important to understand the, I guess we can say, desirability hierarchy in the life that we live as human beings. Meaning, if you want someone who is very desirable, subsequently that means that that desirable man has a lot of options. Let's just be real. If you are a desirable woman, you have a lot of options as well. But what we want to understand is if you're looking for a very desirable man with a lot of desirable options, then you have to be self-aware enough to ask yourself, am I also a desirable woman? Now, I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings, but this requires some self-awareness and some honesty. Because if you are not in the place in your life, and I'm not just talking about your looks, it's not just about having a dump truck, it's not just about having nice yitties or a nice face. I'm talking about your intangibles. I'm talking about your character as well. I'm talking about what in your femininity do you bring to the relationship as well? Because we have to be honest with each other. If you're looking for a good husband and I want you to find a good husband, we also have to make sure that you can be a good wife and you're capable of that, not just in your looks, but in your spirit, in your soul, in your everything. saying, right? Because we want to ensure that the man that you want actually wants you too. And if he's a desirable man, then he's also looking for a desirable partner. So the reality of it is the first way to align yourself with the desirable husband, with the type of man you want, with the type of relationship you want, is to also ask yourself, am I what someone who is desirable would actually even want in their life? Or do I bring a lot of toxicity? Do I bring a lot of emotional immaturity? Do I bring a lot of time wasting and confusion? Do I bring a lot of baggage? All of these questions you have to be self-aware enough to ask yourself and answer honestly in order to properly even be ready or prepared to meet the guy. Because the reality of it is, sometimes you might think so hard to yourself about what it would be like to finally meet the guy that you don't stop to think to yourself, okay, so when I meet him, what happens next, right? And that has to be a very important thought in your mind. When I actually do meet this guy, would I actually be ready? Not from the standpoint of just being ready to receive from him and get a bunch of things and have him spend money on me and take me out, but also am I ready in the sense that I'm also able to be a very good partner to him as well? Because it's not just a one-sided relationship. If he's going to be giving a lot and bringing a lot, which I expect, I'm sure he also expects me to be doing that, or else he wouldn't choose me as a partner. So sometimes you can end up disappointed because when you do find a good man, if you haven't been investing in yourself and preparing yourself to be the most desirable version of yourself, you might actually meet that perfect man and not be in your place of being a desirable woman and lose out on the opportunity of actually being in a relationship with that guy because you haven't yet looked inward. Okay, let's hop into our next point. I know that one's tough to hear, because you guys just want me to give you a magic potion answer. Ain't no magic potions on this show. I'm telling you the real, not the magic potion answer. Maybe someone else can give you the magic pill or the magic potion, not me. All right? So let's hop into our second point. Now, this is one I actually really want you guys to study, so to speak, and ponder upon. We really in... It's like a college course here. Okay. So let's do this like this in terms of a visual here. Okay. So our point number 2 is about criteria. Now, very important when you're thinking about, I want a good husband. Excuse me, I want you to be thinking about the specific qualities that you want for a husband. Those of you who are probably familiar with spirituality and concepts like the law of attraction and manifestation will understand this well. When you are looking for something in your life, something that you want to attract, it's very important when you're communicating to the universe or whatever higher power you believe in, that you are very specific with what you're looking for so that you know where your mind and your frequency should be held in order to receive that. What do I mean by that in a practical sense as it relates to this, right? You want to be looking for, right, specifically here, these 3 things, and I'm going to write them down here. When you're thinking about your good husband that you want, I want you to actually sit down and either write it out in your notepads in an actual notepad, or on your phone in your notes, or on a computer in Microsoft Word, however you want to do it. I want you to write down a list of all of the criteria that you desire from a man. Now, here's where I'm going to be very specific with you so you're not confused. I don't want not a single note on your criteria to be anything physical. Okay, I don't want you to put down, I want him to have a huge schlong, 9 inches. I don't want you to put down, I want him to be 6'3" like me. I don't want you to put down anything about his muscle, nothing in the physical realm, okay? Because the reality of it is none of that is actually going to serve you in terms of having a good relationship. That's just the reality. A man can be attractive and treat you like trash. He can also be ugly and treat you like trash. You're still going to be unhappy either way. What I want you to focus on is these three concepts here. His qualities, meaning his qualities in terms of an intangible sense, right, inside him. The treatment that he gives you, the way that he goes about you, the actions he'll take for you, and then overall his character, right? These three concepts are the three that I want you focused on in terms of creating your list. Why? Because these are going to be the most important elements of finding a good husband. Yes, of course, we want him to be physically attractive, but what I don't want is I don't want you to get so tied down in the physical aesthetic of the man that you consider a good husband that you miss out on men who actually fit this criteria. What do I mean by that? See, we are human beings and we are a bit flawed. So sometimes we allow our senses to take over our mind and not allow us to see things for what they are. Very easily, you might see someone that looks like they're a good person, looks like they're a good husband, but your mind is really tricking you because you find someone so physically attractive that you want to convince yourself that they're what you need because it fits a narrative that you want to believe in. So when you see someone that's your type, so to speak, you find yourself getting hurt a lot because when they're your type, meaning you're naturally very physically attracted to that person, you want to believe that they have all of these qualities when a lot of times they don't. But your eyes play a trick on you and convince you of this narrative that they're what you're looking for. What I want you to do is I want you to kind of remove yourself from that type of thinking. I don't want your eyes to fool you in terms of choosing your partner. That's not to say I don't want you to find someone who's attractive and I want you to date someone who's completely ugly and disgusting. That's not what I want. What I want you to focus on is the intangibles and focus on how do you find an attractive partner as it relates to what's inside them. Because especially for you as a woman, you're capable of growing your attachment to someone as you continue to get to know them better and understand them better. For you, attraction, sex, all of that stuff is very mental, it's very emotional. So don't underestimate your ability to grow an attraction to a man who has good qualities, who treats you well, and has good character. And I promise you, down the road, you'll be a lot more of a happier woman for choosing that man instead of just choosing the first man who is pleasing to your eyeballs. Okay? So, writing down this list and writing down this criteria and being very clear and concise of exactly what you expect, exactly what you're looking for, and exactly what you want it to look like is super duper important. Because remember, we're sending out a frequency into the universe because we're trying to attract a very particular and specific type of man. This will also help you in terms of evaluating men when you're dating them and you're sitting down on this date. When you have this criteria written out, and I know some of you are thinking, write it out, that's a little bit too specific. When you have this criteria written out, it becomes a lot more obvious to you if someone is fitting that or not, okay? So, for example, someone said, give an example. So, treatment could be, I want a man who is respectful not only when he's happy with me, but also when he's upset with me. So, let's say you go out on a couple dates with a guy and you guys get into a little bit of a disagreement. And even when you guys get into a disagreement, he still holds the door open for you. He's still respectful to you. He doesn't call you outside of your name or anything like that, right? That could be an example of, okay, I want specific types of treatment from my man. Now, when I go on dates with men, if I don't see that from them, then it becomes very clear to me that he is not who I'm looking for. In the process of you finding a good husband, what we also want to do simultaneously is identify for you very quickly if you're spending time in places that are going to waste your time. Because finding a good husband is not just about dating 1,000 men. It's about understanding how to decipher the difference between the 999 horrible men and then the one good man who will actually end up being your husband. So that's why this criteria is super duper important, okay? Let's hop into our point number 3. All right. Hope that made sense to all of you. Okay. Point number 3 here. Oh yeah. This is one of those you guys won't like either. All right. Okay. I have to hammer this home. Okay. We have to talk about this because a lot of you make this mistake. And we'll say here, we'll split it up. Okay. You're not going to like it. Number 3, setting. Now, We're going to do this by me asking you a question because I don't want it to be just me talking out of my butthole. I want you to be aware of what's going on in your life. Let me ask you a question. If I told you, pick places you can go to find low quality men, tell me in the chat, where would you go if you wanted to find low quality men? Where would you find as many low quality men as you could possibly find them? I want all of you to answer in the chat. This isn't a game. I really want you all paying attention because we're going somewhere very, very important here, all right? Everyone tell me, where would you go if I asked you, bring me as many low quality men as you can possibly bring me, okay? Right, someone said jail. All right, we're gonna write down everything. I see jail, right? I see the club. I see the bar. Where else you guys got? The liquor store, okay? Right? I see dating apps. All right. Wow, you guys are very, very, someone said the park. Okay, roadside. We can put that here, right? Roadside. Wow, you guys have a lot. Homeless shelter. Okay, damn. All right. The bus stop, the hood in a truck. Damn, okay, in the truck. Someone said the strip club. Okay, we could put the strip club too. All right, a roller coaster. You could on the roller coaster. Okay, all right. Mother's basement. Okay, we could add that one. The club, dive bars, hookah lounge. Okay, I don't have any more room. If I could, I would add more. Someone said Walmart. Okay, KFC, the grocery store, the streets. All right. So, trap house. I like that. We'll put that on the side here because I know some of you like gangsters. All right. You want you a gangster boo. Yeah, we'll see how that works out for you. The trap house. All right. So the reason I asked that question is actually not to be funny. It's to show you something very important. Okay. Setting is such a big part of finding the right man. And the reality of it is you might not realize it because you never thought that deeply, but ask yourselves and see all of the comments here, right? Not just the ones I wrote down. See all of the comments in the comment section in the classroom and ask yourself, I see what a lot of people are saying here. Do I spend a lot of my time in any of these places that any of these people were bringing up a lot? And if the answer to that question is yes, then you also have an answer to your question of why you found it so difficult to find a good husband. Because setting and environment matters. That's the truth of the matter. If you're not in the right environment, it's going to become exponentially hard to find a good man. And it's not to say that going to any of these places are necessarily bad, but it's to understand that if you're spending exorbitant amounts of time in any of these places, which just means a lot of time in any of these places, you're going to end up suffering because you're going to find it a lot harder to find a good man. And it's not even to say that good men don't go out to clubs or bars or anything like that. I'm sure there's even some good men in jail somewhere, all right? But the reality of it is the percentage of good men and good quality husband material men you're going to find in any one of these places and the ones that you guys mentioned is going to be a lot lower. That's just the reality of environment and setting. They always say you're a compilation of the 4 people you hang out with the most and things like that. So finding a good husband is about understanding how to put yourself in the right environment. So then the question becomes, where do high quality men hang out? Now, again, I want you guys to answer this question for me, and I want to see how much you know and how much knowledge and understanding you have. Where do you think, if you were going to find high quality men, where would you go to find some high quality men? I want you all to answer, okay? I see some people said, right, church. I see some people said the gym. Where else you guys have here? Okay, someone said a coffee shop. All right. Let me see. Someone said the library. Okay, I like that one. Yeah, library. Okay, the airport. Okay, a conference. I like that. I like that one. A conference. Okay, hopefully the right type of conference, not the bad ones. Oh, a seminar. I like that. You guys are so smart. A seminar. Ooh, yeah. I seen someone else say the museum. Ooh, Ooh, I like this. Ooh, health club. That's kind of like the gym, right? I like that. An art gallery, Costco. Okay. 5-star hotels. Ooh, a charity event. I like that. Oh, these guys are good. Charity event. I seen someone else say something that I really liked as well. What was it? What was it? Oh man, I missed it. I missed it. I missed it. Someone said university. Yeah, we could also do that. Okay. I really like this. Whole Foods, the bank. Okay. Golfing, a wellness center. All right. A wedding. I like that. Formula One. Okay. A run club. Ooh, I will add that. That's that 2024 stuff. That's that 2025 stuff, I should say. Run club. I like that one. Okay. So I want you to notice something, and I'm so glad you all participated because this is very important. See, the reality of it is you actually do have the answers within you. It just takes a little bit of thinking to really ask yourself, where would the right type of man actually be? And see, the funny thing about this is, even if you haven't been to some of the places that you guys have mentioned, the reality of it is you know the answer to your question, meaning when you think about finding a good partner, you know where you could go to find a good one. But the problem is these places are a lot more accessible and a lot easier to just say, I don't want to work too hard. I'm just going to go to one of these places instead. I don't want to leave my house or do too much planning, so I'll go to one of these places instead. But then you wonder why you're finding only low quality men. So vice versa, when it comes to the high quality men, notice that a lot of these things here have to do with some sort of learning, growing, or progressing in terms of your mindset, your physical state, right? Like by going to the gym, right? You're growing your body, right? Or investing in yourself in some sort of capacity, whether it be investing in your spirit, like going to church, whether it be investing in your health, like going to the gym, or whether it be investing in your mind, like going to a conference, a seminar, or even a museum or a charity. Investing, growing, progressing in some way, shape, or form. So, when you're thinking about how to find high quality men, that's all you have to be thinking about. How do I put myself in a setting where the people there are investing, growing, progressing in their understanding, in their spirit, in their mental state, in their health, in some way, shape, or form? That's where you're going to find the most high quality men, right? And when you can put yourself in that environment, the same way where you're going to find very little good quality men in some of these environments is the same way you're going to find very high quality men in a lot of these environments. Now, let me be honest with you. Of course, the same way you can find a good quality man in jail is the same way you can find a bad quality man at church. So it doesn't mean that you don't have to have discernment just because you meet a man in church or at a seminar. But it means that the likelihood that you'll find a good man, that you'll find a man who fits your criteria of the husband that you're seeking is a lot more likely if you can just focus on the environment that you spend your time in. Okay, right? And that's after you focus on looking inward to build yourself up as well. Okay. Someone says good quality men in jail. I doubt that. I doubt that too. But I know what some of you do. I know some of you be doing that pen pal stuff where you write to people in jail. Tell me the truth. Do you know someone or have you ever done any of that writing to an inmate stuff? I know all the stuff that people be doing. Okay, don't try and act too cool for me. I know the stuff that girls be doing. They be finding them inmates that have those nice mug shots and they be sending the mail. Okay, you know never mind, I won't say it. But I know a lot. I know a lot. I know a lot. We're not gonna act like everyone's an angel in here. All right. Let's hop into our point number 3. What did you guys say? I watched Love After Lockup. Yeah, it's I know what'll be going on. All right. Oh, that was point number 3 actually. We're going fast. Okay, now this point number 4, once again, I don't think you're gonna like this because, well, you'll see. Okay. All right, so I was gonna give you a deformed head there. Let's draw you like that. Ooh, your head's kind of long. All right, no worries. We'll protect it with a lot of hair. You got a peanut head. Oh, peanut head there. All right, so this is the thing here. And when I draw this, it's going to look kind of weird, but don't worry. Okay, so you are here, all right? Point number 4, sorry, let me introduce this. Point number 4 is distractions. You're in the middle, obviously. Now, what I want you to know and understand about finding a good husband is throughout the process, you have to be aware this doesn't happen in an instant. There's a progression of growing within yourself, investing in yourself, and preparing yourself for the time you eventually meet that man. Along that path and that journey of your self-growth and the time that you're going to eventually meet that guy, you're going to come across a lot of distractions, meaning a lot of low quality men. See, one of the things that low quality men love to do, especially when you're growing yourself and growing your dump truck, getting a nicer body, getting a sharper mind, investing in your spirit and all this other stuff, they love to steal your time, okay? They are dying to take you back down a notch, especially when they notice that you're getting better, that you're growing. See, there's a certain magic, a je ne sais quoi, as the French say. There's a magic to you that is happening whenever you actually start really investing in yourself. When you start growing, when things start working out for you, you have this glow, okay? Has anyone ever told you, oh, you just got a glow going on? It's like that magic fairy dust that's following you around when you're really deep in your investing in yourself. Both women and men are attracted to that glow, that magic. They want a piece of that. It's like an addiction. They're like, oh my gosh, you got some of that magic? Rub yourself all over my body so I can get some of that magic that you have going on. And this is the thing. When you're on this pathway to preparing yourself, why did I put Tim instead of time? I'm tripping. I put it in both places. I'm too excited. Okay, one of the things that I want you to realize when you're growing and getting better because you're preparing yourself to find your amazing husband is along that journey, you will get a lot of distractions from low quality men who will be desperate to steal your time and steal your magic. Don't fall for it. Okay? The reason I'm saying don't fall for it is because if you're unaccustomed to a lot of attention from men all the time, and you begin making tweaks in your life to better yourself and invest in yourself, change your environment and things like that, even when you finally do meet other men, or you're just walking around town going to the grocery store, understand you'll be carrying a lot of magic with you, okay? I'm not talking about what's behind you and in your jeans. I'm talking about like the magic of your aura. So even when low quality men might come across you at the grocery store or come across you at some event or some seminar or some conference, they might see you and say, oh, I want some of what she's got. She's a very attractive, magical woman. And I want you to be aware of the fact that when you're carrying this amount of magic around with you, right, this amount of aura and essence around with you, you will be very, very enticing to a lot of men. And at that time is when you have to be the most discerning in terms of saying, nope, I'm going to stay focused and keep myself prepared for the man that I actually want to ready myself for. Not these low quality men that I know can't do jack nothing for me. And the other thing too is while you're waiting for this man, while you're preparing yourself by investing in yourself and growing yourself to be able to eventually be the right partner for the right man as well. One thing that you'll make a mistake of doing as well is allowing the time in between to get filled with low quality men. Because I told you, low quality men will want to steal your time. They'll also make it very easy to waste time and spend time with them if you're ever in a place where you're bored. So what do I mean by that? You might be in a place in your life where you're saying, yeah, Tomisin, I'm investing in myself and it's cool. I go to the gym, I go to church, I go to work, I go to these conferences and yeah, you know, life's good. But I want a partner. Like I want someone I can spend time with. I want someone I can go to the movies with. I want someone I can go out to events with. I want someone I can bring to a wedding. And yeah, you know, there's this guy, he's not really the type that I would want to be my husband, but he's someone that is around. He understands me enough, and we have good laughs and good humor. So I feel like if I just am with him while I'm looking for a husband, or if I'm just continuing to do what I've been doing, but I just use him as someone that I spend a little bit of time with every now and again, there's nothing wrong with that, right? I get questions like that all the time. And my answer is always no. No, you will not waste time with a man who doesn't meet your criteria just because you have extra time, just because you haven't found the right guy yet. If you identify that a man in your life is not who you're looking for in terms of husband material, you do not waste any time with him. And I know it's easy to say, well, I don't even have a guy in my life, so I'll just spend time with this guy who's like 75% of what I'm looking for, but not really husband material. Do not do that. Why am I saying don't do that? Remember how I talked about at the beginning of the show when it comes to making sure that you are also the type of woman that the man that you're desiring so much that is a good husband to you, that would actually, he would want you as well and desire you as well? You want to make sure that you don't allow these distractions, one, to get you off track, but also to put you in a position where when you finally do come across that good husband, when you finally do come across that man that you've been looking and desiring for so long, that you don't have ties to all of these low quality men, that now you're scrambling and trying to figure out, oh, but I've been hanging out with this guy and I've got this guy texting me and this guy calling me and this guy, we're supposed to spend the night together the other day. And now I have to figure out how I'm going to tell him that I have a new thing, but I don't want to tell him that I have a new thing yet because I don't know if this one's going to work out. And you will put yourself in a very confused state because of all these distractions. And I'm telling you, because you think you'll be able to handle it. I've seen it crumble a million times. As you're trying to juggle all of these low quality men who are trying to steal your time and you finally found the guy that you actually want to be with, you'll realize that these men and your relationships with all these low quality men will sabotage your ability to be with that one man who is actually what you want. And I don't want that for you. I want you, when you finally meet the guy that you're looking for, to be able to just grow a relationship with him. Not have to, when you're trying to grow a relationship with him, now you're trying to think of how to juggle guy number 8 and guy number 3 over here and all these other guys that you were wasting a bunch of time with and using to distract yourself. And now when you finally meet the guy you want, you're scrambling a whole bunch. Okay, someone said, damn, 8, maybe 3, okay? Right? I don't want you scrambling, okay? Anymore, right? I don't want you filled with distractions. Let's hop into our point number 5. Okay, hope that makes sense. Je ne sais quoi translates to I don't know what, right? Something like that. I think that's what the phrase actually means. A certain I don't know what, something like that. Sorry, my brain works weird. Okay, let's hop into point number 5. Okay. I told you today's a curly hair day for you. Another day it'll be straight hair. Now, this is gonna kind of look weird. One, because my drawing is weird. But rest assured, this should make sense after a while. Okay. Point number 5 is about spirit. Now, I know I said spirit and then I drew money, but let me explain. Let's think of an analogy here so we can kind of understand how this works. See, what I want for you is when you finally are looking for that husband of yours, we want to make sure that you're actually ready to receive that. One of the things that can happen is you feel very undeserving of what you are preparing yourself for in the future. Let me explain this in an analogy, okay? See, let's just say for the sake of example, someone came up to you on the street and was like, hey, I want to give you $1 million. And you're like, wait, what? What do you mean you want to give me $1 million? For what? What did I do? You didn't do anything. You haven't been anywhere. You haven't hurt anyone. You haven't done anything amazing. I just want to give you $1 million for being yourself. And the first thing you might think is, well, what's the catch? But also, are you sure? Because I feel like if I'm going to receive $1 million from you, I should have to do something for that $1 million, right? And sometimes if I give you that $1 million right on the street, you might be like, well, thank you. I appreciate that. But you also might start to feel a little bit later like, I don't really deserve this. I didn't do anything for this money. And then when people ask you, hey, you got $1 million, how'd you do it? You say, honestly, I don't know. I really didn't do anything for it, right? And there's a little bit of a bittersweet taste to it because you don't even feel like you earned the $1 million. You just feel like it was kind of given to you for no reason, and now here you are with the $1 million. And see, this is kind of the same idea with a particular place your spirit will be in when you finally do meet the man that you're looking for that I want you to avoid. See, if you're not in a place where you actually feel deserving of having a good man, you might end up receiving $1 million and saying, well, I don't deserve this. This is not mine. I didn't do anything for this. I'm not the type of person who should be getting $1 million. Please just take the money back. I can't take this from you. And this is the thing. See, when you meet a good man and he actually treats you well and he actually does things for you and he's actually consistent with you and he actually is trustworthy, you might actually say to yourself, and I know some of you think it would never be me, but you might actually end up saying to yourself, I don't really deserve that. Like, you're so trustworthy. You treat me so well. I don't deserve to be like, who am I to get treated this well? And you might find yourself, it sounds very strange, you might find yourself rejecting the fact that this man treats you so well. Because you become so used to getting nothing from people, right? You've been so used to getting $0 from people that when someone just comes up to you and offers you $1 million for nothing, you're like, I can't take this. I can't allow myself to take it because I don't feel deserving of this. But here's the thing, and this is where I say you kind of have to realign yourself totally if you're looking for a good husband, right? Part of the reason that I also want you to invest in yourself and actually see and feel yourself growing is because the process of actually feeling like you're growing as an individual, that you're getting better, that when you look in the mirror, you see an attractive person. I also want that to affect your mind state by making you believe that you deserve a desirable partner yourself. Because the thing about it is, if you don't work on yourself and you receive that perfect husband, you'll actually start to feel a little bit guilty because you won't feel like you don't actually deserve that. But when you work on yourself, you start to feel like I've earned a good partner because I am a good partner, right? Because what we're also trying to do as we're trying to find you a good husband, we're trying to set you up in a position that when you actually meet him and grow a relationship with him, that the relationship works out. And I promise you, if you don't invest in yourself, you'll start to feel guilty when men treat you well. What we also have to do is heal traumas from your past so that we can properly make it so that when a guy does treat you well, you don't only feel like the only treatment you deserve from men is to be treated like trash. Okay? Very, very important, right? We have to kind of open up your spirit and understand how to allow you to receive because you actually believe you're deserving of that treatment. Okay? Let's hop into our point number 6. Okay. Alrighty. Point number 6. Okay. Now, how do I draw this? Okay. Point number 6 is about grieving. Now, what specifically are you grieving? I want you to grieve your past relationships and grieve your past situationships. But why do I say the term grieve them? Sometimes when you're going through life, as you're having relationships, breaking up with people, moving forward, you'll find yourself moving forward sometimes so fast and just doing life because you have work, you have school, you have responsibilities that you don't spend any time actually thinking about what you've been through. And the way that that manifests itself in terms of your romantic relationships, sometimes you don't ever grieve those relationships, meaning you don't ever actually take in, this is what happened, this is how it happened, this is why it happened, and this is what I took from it, and I'm learning from it in the future, and I'm accepting that it's over. You remember how I talked about low quality men will try and steal your time? The other thing that can become a distraction is having a lot of these old connections, old flings that are kind of still in your life, sort of, kind of. Maybe you hang out every once in a while, but not really dating, kind of, sort of. Maybe we are not really like a thing, sometimes hookup thing, not really all the time. This is the problem. When you don't properly grieve these relationships and lay them to rest, this is what your heart will look like, okay? I'm not an artist, but the idea, your heart will be full, okay? Why do I say that your heart will be full? Because as these relationships or ex-flings have not been put to rest, you still have all of these lingering feelings and emotions taking up space in your heart, right? And as they're taking up space in your heart becomes more and more full and full and full. But the problem is when you finally meet the guy that you're looking for, right? The husband that you've been dreaming of for so long, there's no space for him to enter your heart when all of these feelings from other past flings and situations are taking up space. So what we need to do is we need to create a scenario in which your heart is open. And what does it mean to have an open heart, right? It means that you're capable of actually, right, receiving love from a man, right? Because we want, when this husband comes into your life, we want him to be able to, right? We want him to be able to give you love. We want him to be able to love you and pour into you, but we also need to give him space in order to do that. And I know this sounds kind of like abstract here, but the thing is, the reality is, if your heart is full, and if you have all of these lingering situations, not only does it make it hard for you to connect with the man that you actually want to grow with, but you're also going to be repelling the man that you actually want to grow with, because when he tries to love you and you have all of this other stuff going on that hasn't been laid to rest, it will become so impossibly hard for him to love you. And then subsequently, he'll eventually become frustrated trying to give you his love and you not being able to receive that because your heart has no space in it. And eventually he's going to say to himself, I'm a great and desirable man. If you're not ready to receive my love in its totality, then I'm going to go give it to someone else. And unfortunately, that can happen very easily. And the reality of it is, these good men, they don't come across all the time. So when you lose out on those men, and they go find another woman that actually is ready to receive because she's positioned herself in the right place mentally and spiritually, now you're going to be a very unhappy woman because you're going to be stuck with all of these past flings and maybe low quality men that you can't do anything with, right? Part of finding a good husband is not just saying, oh, I'm already perfect, so I'm going to go out and just hopefully I'll find one by going to the next museum, right? It's also about understanding when I actually do find him, how do I make sure our relationship will go well by the way that I position myself, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually, okay? Let's hop into our 7 point. Point number 7, okay? Believe it or not, this board is actually hard to erase. Like, you would have an arm like Popeye. If you were erasing my board, okay? This is really hard to erase. All right. Point number 7. Let me draw this out here. This is kind of weird. Whatever, I'll explain it. Kind of looks weird. Whatever, you get my point. Okay, so all right, and go like this. Okay, so this is the thing. Point number 7 is about pressure. See, we do all this work to prepare you for the eventual time in which you'll meet your man. As you're doing this work, you can start to feel like the clock is ticking, especially if you're on the more mature side and you're really ready for a relationship. What I don't want, though, is I don't want you to create so much pressure for yourself about finding this guy that you end up having the opposite effect of being an attractive woman, and you actually end up repelling a lot of men. The reason I drew this like this is because it's kind of like a visual of what will be happening. When you meet men, if you have an energy, and I know we talk about desperate energy in the sense of just wanting any man to love you, but if you have a desperation to you that, like, I really need you to be the man that's my husband, you'll actually have the opposite effect of repelling men away, because they'll feel that anxiety seeping through your pores. That's why I say it's sweating, not in an actual physical sense, but in an aura and an energetical sense, where they can feel your desperation to find a husband. And unfortunately, the reality of it is that desperation is very unattractive to people. So as we're investing in ourselves and you're growing and you're bettering yourself, understanding how to put yourself in a different environment, you also don't want to feel, and this is kind of like a thing that you have to be self-aware about. Don't allow yourself to feel like time is slipping away from you, okay? Enjoy investing in yourself. Enjoy the journey of growing and getting better. Allow your small goals for yourself and the things that you want to do in your life and the things that you want to become. Allow that to consume your mind on a daily basis. And allow the idea that a man will eventually find you and be the guy that you're looking for to be a secondary thought of yours, okay? I want you, and I know this sounds very strange because we're talking about how to find a good husband, and I'm talking about you instead of talking about the guys. I want you to focus a majority of your daily energy on what goal do I want to achieve for myself today? Where do I want to go? How do I want to spend my time? How do I want to bring myself a little bit of happiness today by doing something for me? How do I reach one of my goals that I set for myself at the beginning of the year? Whether it be lose 1 pound, lose 10 pounds, lose 100 pounds, right? Get 1 inch off my waist, 2 inches off my waist, change my hair color, grow longer hair, have healthier hair, have healthier skin, whatever the case may be. Allow your goals on a daily basis for yourself, doesn't have to be large, doesn't have to be save the world, to consume you. Allow that to be the thing that you focus on tweaking and adjusting and growing and getting better at. And allow the men to come to you as they may, and allow the man who is going to be your husband to show you he's your husband by showing you how he fits all of your criteria. Don't do this the opposite way, where instead, when you meet a man, you try and force him to meet your criteria because all you've been looking for this entire time is a husband. Let men come to you, let them show you who they are and accept them for whoever they are. And if they're not who you're looking for based on your criteria, like we talked about earlier, you let them go and you cast them back into the sea to go be with and go do whatever it is that they please. And you go back to investing in yourself like you were always doing and enjoying before. Okay? Right? Does that make sense to all of you in all of these 7 points? Now, do you guys have any questions about the 7 that we just discussed here? You guys can ask me anything as it relates to the show here that you want at all. Okay, I'm answering all. Okay. Right. All right. Someone said I'm trying to gain weight. That's perfectly fine. Uh, Someone said I had gotten to the point of realizing that my peace doesn't exist and just living my life being at peace with solitude and enjoying it. And boom, my twin flame shows up. I'm telling you, it's when you least expect it. You don't want to, I know that we're talking about how to find a good husband, but you don't want that to be like so pressure packed that you end up repelling people away, because it's just honestly not an attractive mindset to approach with, right? Someone said, why would you mute the water? You guys want to hear me drink? Okay, if you want to hear me drink, perfectly fine. Maybe I'll unmute it next time. Right? Q says, what's your take on celibacy? I think celibacy can be a great way to find yourself again and kind of recenter yourself, to recenter your focuses on things. All right. I definitely think that that can be something that it can be beneficial for you for sure. So I have no issues with celibacy. And in fact, if you know you're someone who struggles with distraction, celibacy can be a great way to refocus your energy. Now, celibacy is not enough to fix your issues or your situations or give you answers. But if you combine celibacy with being able to have a focus, like a place to refocus your energy, that's when you'll really excel. So celibacy is not just, oh, I'm going to be celibate and just do nothing. It's I'm going to be celibate and then refocus that sexual energy into a different place. You have to energy is like ever flowing. So you have to make sure you're actually not transcoding it. You're kind of redirecting it in a different place. You can't just let it sit there, or else it's going to eventually build up to the point where it bursts, right? Blue says for point number 6, is the grieving process half on the duration that of the last relationship? How long is grief relinquished? Well, see, I know that there's a saying of, oh, you know, it takes you half the time of the last relationship to get over the new one. I don't necessarily think it's that hard and fast of a rule, but I definitely do think anytime you finished a serious relationship, okay, this should be your barometer for any of you. If you have finished a serious relationship and you ever find yourself thinking, well, damn, I wonder what it would be like to still be with that person. I kind of wish I could still see that person. I kind of wish I could still be around that person. Or, you know, if they were to tell me that they wanted to be with me, I wouldn't necessarily say no. If you're still in that place mentally, right, you're just not ready. Okay, that's a better barometer for yourself to gauge where you're at in terms of your grief state, right? When you get to the place where you say, no, this relationship happened, I know what happened, I know why it happened, I know why it ended, and I can freely talk about it, but I understand that it's over and I'm okay with it being over. I don't need to rejoin it. I don't need to re-explore it. I don't need to get more answers or any more clarity. I've gotten all the clarity I need. When you get to that place mentally, that's when you're actually ready, okay, to move forward. And the reality of it is, for everyone, it's a little bit different. For some people, that process takes 6 months from a serious relationship. For some people, that process takes 3-4 years from a serious relationship. So it all kind of depends on your, level of ability to just move forward, or your attachment to that person or that relationship. Doesn't make you a bad person because it takes you longer. It doesn't make you a bad person because it takes you shorter, right? There's no like perfect answer for that, but that's a good barometer. Okay. Someone says, what if you meet him during healing? Then I'll be honest with you, it's probably not the right time. It's probably not, because what you're attempting to do then, if you meet the guy that you're looking for during your healing journey, what's going to happen is your healing journey is going to go on pause, and you're not going to properly be able to evolve the way that you were supposed to evolve to actually be the right partner. And then he's going to struggle because he's not going to get the best version of you. You're also going to struggle because you're going to have a lot of unresolved feelings that are going to show themselves at some point in the relationship. So if you ever meet a guy through the process of you doing your healing journey, you have to be honest with yourself and him and be like, well, I understand, you want to date me and everything like that, but I have things I need to figure out, and I just can't. I can't do it. Now, if you ever finish that healing journey and then somehow you guys reconnect, then so be it. But it's better for you to just be real with yourself if you know you're still on that journey and you're not there yet, to just be real and not confuse yourself and confuse him, because if you're still there, you're not going to be able to build a real proper relationship. Okay. By the way, for those of you who have a question for me that's unrelated to this or what we talked about today, you can still ask it to me. And at any time of the day, go to the link in my bio if you're watching on TikTok, or the link in my description if you're watching on YouTube, and click where it says private relationship advice. Then once you click that, you can type out your question to me, send it directly to me, and I give you a response in a voice message format, and I send it back to the email that you used to send in your question. Okay. So for those of you who have a question, you can send it in that way. Excuse me. Someone says, is it wrong to date an ex's friend? My advice to you that asked that question, Dark 83, that asked that question, there are 8 billion people in the world. So let's split that in half. There's 4 billion men. I'm sure you can find someone who is not one of your ex's friends, because I want you to ask yourself a question. You date your ex's friend. Do you think that brings you closer to your ex, or allows you to move farther away and move forward better? Answer that question, right? Because what are you actually trying to do here? Sometimes, see, our mind can play tricks, and trust me, I've been there. So don't think that, I'm, saying it like I'm some sort of super evolved human being, right? But answer that question for yourself. Why are you looking to date specifically someone who's your ex's friend? Why is that not such a repulsive idea simply because you don't want to be around your ex? Ask yourself, are you looking to date that ex's friend truthfully because you feel that person is the right person for you? Or is it because you want to hang around and be around your ex just a little bit more? It's the same idea as when you break up with someone, and then let's say you met some friends that they were friends with through them while dating them, and then you try and hang out with those friends after you guys break up, and you say, oh, well, it's because me and that person became such good friends that now we have our own. But you're choosing to hang out with someone that you know is going to put you in closer contact with your ex. So is that really moving forward and moving on, or is that putting you back into square one, where you're just going to keep going in circles because you're going to keep running into them? I know it's a tough question to answer to yourself, because when your emotions are involved, you try and justify everything. But the reality of it is, moving on is not putting yourself in a position where you're closer to that person. That's just the reality. It's going to be very difficult for you to move on that way. Someone says, found out he wasn't dating me only like we agreed and lost emotional control, called him a liar. He got angry with me and told me he needed space. Then I sent him paragraphs taking accountability for my wrongs and told him I want to grow with him still, but all the respect, the space, and leave it to God. Was this a bad thing for me to do? I would love for you to put that question in our Discord, because I feel like there's a lot of context that I would need there for me to answer your situation properly. So ask Missy America. Missy America will direct you how to put your question into our Discord time, because we're going to do Discord time in just a little bit here, okay? Marlia says, is there a way to talk about your ex properly? Is it like not being misunderstood that you're still over them? No, talking about the ex is a question you should be asking of men. But when it comes time for you to talk about your ex, all you need to talk about is your relationship from the standpoint of it didn't work out. I am very aware of why it didn't work out and how we were misaligned. And the way that I've grown now since then, I wouldn't accept bad or horrible treatment. You don't want to be speaking about your ex from the standpoint of he treated me so badly, right? I actually want you to speak on the good things he did for you, not from a standpoint of I'm still in love with him, but I'm from a standpoint of I'm understanding and I'm used to getting good treatment. And then I want you to still speak on the fact that, yeah, but this is over. We were misaligned in other places, and I'm very, very not talking to him at all, not, involved with him at all. He can't access me. He can't call me. He can't text me. That's what you need to do with that. Why is this like this? What's going on here? Look at this. Somebody come look at this. Somebody come look at this. Let me see. Why did I do that? Okay, there we go. Okay. I'm back now. Does that make sense to all of you? LP Baby says, Tommy, for point 5, should we consider going to therapy to heal past traumas and emotional wounds, pains? What if we can't go to therapy at the moment? What are your suggestions? My suggestions would be journaling, because journaling can at least allow you to get it out of your system, like put it out. Whether you want to journal by writing, writing is usually the most physical, so it can feel the most therapeutic because you're actually getting some sort of, not physical pain, but there's physical action in terms of writing. So that's why it can feel very therapeutic. Or you can type it out. I think writing, like hand writing it, would be better, just in terms of being able to like get it out if you don't have a therapist. Someone said ChatGPT. No, don't go to ChatGPT with your problems. I'm never going to advise that. Okay. Just because, like, what is ChatGPT going to do about you? Do for you, right? ChatGPT doesn't have an understanding of human emotion. So, for example, because I've seen people do this, and I think it's funny. You might ask ChatGPT, "Can I still be friends with an ex?" And ChatGPT will tell you, "Yes, it's possible to still be friends with an ex. It's possible to still be around them as long as you set boundaries." That's not really taking into account human emotion and how we really are as human beings, right? Yeah, you could still be friends with an ex. Yeah, you could still set boundaries. Are most of us going to do that? No. Okay. Are most of us going to be confused? Very confused. Okay. So, like, let's be for real. Okay. I don't like the ChatGPT stuff because ChatGPT is not a real human being with real human understanding. Okay. Not that I don't like technology. Technology is good. But when we're talking about human emotions and relationships, we need human beings. Okay. Because human beings can understand the nuance between something that's supposed to be logical and how emotions can get in the way of that. That's my own thought process on that. Guts donates $20 in the YouTube chat. Thank you so much, Guts. I appreciate you so much. And thank you to all you guys who donated in the TikTok chat as well. I appreciate all of your donations. Someone says, ChatGPT is running my dating life, haha, giving me the craziest advice. Yeah, I don't advise ChatGPT. You guys can ask me a question, right? I'm a human being. I'm not an AI, at least for what you know. You can ask me a question. That's why I have that resource for you guys to have asked me a question. Obviously, when you guys ask me a question, there's part of me is going to be real with you in terms of like what you should be doing. But I also give answers based on like knowing like, hey, me just telling you, oh, break up with the guy you've been dating for 2 years. Like that's not that easy. So I also give answers based on like, all right, if we want to figure out how we can work through this problem, if we want to figure out how we can maybe come to a solution or a resolution in this problem, how do we also do that, right? It's not just about saying, all right, let's do what's perfectly logical and pretend like our emotions aren't involved. That's not how human beings work, right? So that's why when you guys ask me a question, I also factor in what's the reality of a situation, because I'm telling you to do something or giving you advice, but how easy is that advice to actually implement? Maybe not very easy. So that's why I also preference my advice. And it's not just me. I'm not saying that I have all the answers to anything, but I'm just saying that's why human being advice is a lot better than robot advice. Okay, as it relates to relationships, at least. Maybe on different fronts, they're better. BK says, will a man realistically allow you the space for me time on a consistent basis without accusing you of cheating? Someone who's emotionally mature will be able to do that. If someone, like, one of two things are happening. If a man is accusing you of cheating for having some me time, one, he's either cheating himself, which is why he's projecting that onto you, or number two, he's just so emotionally immature, he can't, or I should even say emotionally immature and codependent, he can't even fathom the idea that you would want to do something outside of him. Either way, you're not going to be able to have a successful relationship with a man like that, because in a relationship, you still need to and deserve to have your individuality, meaning you need to have things for yourself outside of your partner. Your life can't just become your partner and vice versa. If you ever make the mistake as a woman of allowing your life to just be your partner, the funniest part about that is when you give that to a man, he will immediately neglect you. Because men don't even like that. They don't want you to make them the center of their universe. They'll become less attracted to you for making them the center of your universe. So anytime a guy tries to like direct you or move you in a way that you can make him the center of your universe, just don't do it. Just completely ignore it and keep doing what you've been doing. Because the reality of it is his response will be the best for you when he has respect for you and he's attracted to you because you have things for yourself. He'll never have the proper respect for you or attraction towards you when all of your focus is on him and he's the center of your universe. That's just the honest truth. I know it's confusing because men will tell you one thing and then they'll respond.
Do whatever he needs to do. For example, let me give you an example. When I was out and I was dating, men often would ask me, what am I looking for in a guy? I never told them. Because then they pretend to be everything I want them to be. If I allow you to just be who you are and allow you to show me who you really are, you're going to treat me however you feel that I deserve anyways, or how you think I deserve anyways. Ladies, never tell a man what you want because they're going to pretend. Men value.
So this is the thing too, and I agree with wholeheartedly with what she's saying. And I don't want any of you to get it confused because different stages require different strategies and approaches. Obviously, when you get to a point where you're actually dating a man, he calls himself your boyfriend or your husband or whatever the case may be, that doesn't mean that you still find yourself in a place where you're not going to communicate what you want. That's not what that means. It's about when you first start dating someone, you have to ensure that that person actually has a desire to even show up for you, to even invest in you, to even, treat you like a queen or a princess or whatever the case may be. If that man has a desire to do that, he will be doing that from the jump without you having to maneuver it, without you having to pressure him to do it or tell him exactly what to do. From that desire to show up for you, that's when you guys find yourselves in a relationship and you can communicate what your needs are because he's going to try and do things for you. But before he ever expresses that he even wants to take this seriously and do things for you, no need to be telling men, oh, I want a man who does this, does that, does this, does that. Let him go. Let him do what he wants.
Okay. Men are like dogs. When you teach them new tricks or when you teach them things, they're going to be loyal to that thing, right? So men see pride in valuing what they earn. So this is what you need to do. You need to sit back and allow him to initiate things. If he said he's going to call you and he didn't call you, he knows he was supposed to call you and he didn't call you yet. If he forgot to do something for you, he knew he forgot to do that for you. This is not, you don't have to remind, you don't have to, ask him about it. Simply just say, oh, okay, that's fine. I know you missed it. Because when you take back your power and you don't respond in the way that he thinks you're going to respond, you're not nagging all the time, you're not asking questions, you're not doing all of this, because simply it's not about him. And this is where the women get confused. You guys are always in the comments talking about something. It's not about him. It's not about him. It's about you. Being in your dark feminine energy has nothing to do with a man. It has all to do with your self-worth and your self-confidence, okay? And a woman that knows, and she's sure with her, a woman that is embracing and embarking into her dark feminine journey realizes, you know what? This is not something that I really have to put up with. I know my self-worth. I know who I am wholeheartedly. And I see this is not the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. Being mysterious is the best thing that you could ever do by being in your dark feminine energy when it comes down to being in a relationship with a man or whatever, in the let them theory, okay? Because when you just sit back, like I said, this whole thing is about you sitting back and not focusing on them, and it's focusing on yourself, and it's doing things that you love to do. You're not initiating anything. You're not doing all that nagging and bugging and whining and crying and all that, because that will get irritating after a while. You don't say anything. When you simply just sit back, it exposes his true character. And that's the biggest thing that a lot of people are not looking for in relationships. Y'all are looking for the money, y'all are looking for this. What about his character? How is his character? Now, you need to have a little money and have a little fun, all right? A lot of money, whichever. He need to have some money and a JLB, okay?
I like what she's saying here, and I like the idea of the let them theory because I think it works very well. It's like, my same saying of just do nothing, right? Do nothing is going to help you and benefit you in multiple ways. It gives you that mystery. It makes you more attractive to people. And then it also lets you have clarity on who that person really is and what they would rather do. You want to know more than anything what a man would rather do to really see what his real opinion or real feelings are towards you and towards the situation. Because when he shows you that, then you don't have to be confused. You don't have to question anything because that's your answer.
Is everybody okay? Because it seems like the entire world is going through a breakup right now. And honestly, it's sad, scary, and fascinating because why? Like, why is this happening? In my 30 years of life, I've never seen this many heartbreaks happening all at once. I'm talking like long-term relationships that were 4+ years suddenly ending, and then marriages that seemed happy just over for no rhyme or reason, and couples breaking up even when they still love each other. Like, what is going on? I just came back from a grocery store. I live above a grocery store, by the way. I complimented this guy's coat and he said, "Thank you. My wife bought it for me. She would have loved that you noticed, but she'll never hear it because we just separated."
Never be that person. Sorry, that's just a side note. Never be that person that just starts trauma dumping on random strangers. Just side note.
I was like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's got to be tough. And he goes, yeah, 20 years of marriage gone. What? And it's not just where I live either. I've called friends in California, Florida, New York, Texas. It's happening everywhere. And I won't lie, it makes me sad because I've never seen this many people heartbroken and crashing out all at once. Never. I'm also the kind of person that has to understand things. Like I hyper fixate on a subject until it makes sense. But this feels like something even science can't fully explain. Like I've never been the Mercury in retrograde universe shifting type of guy. But man, I might be now, because what could it be? Paradox of choice, too many options, but that's always existed, so why now? Is it our fear of commitment? Have we become so hyper independent that we've forgotten how to compromise? Or is it, have we all become so selfish that nothing is worth fighting for anymore? What is it? I don't have the answers, and honestly, that's what makes it scary, because I will hyper fixate, but I do know this, there's something in the air, a shift, a wave of endings that none of us seem to be ready for. I don't know. And if you're going through a heartbreak right now, all my love to you. Seriously, because I know how heavy it feels, and maybe there's no explanation, but what I'm telling myself is that maybe sometimes things just fall apart so better things can come together. But looking around,
I won't say too much, but there's a new version of this show, our Players Club show, that will be coming later this year that will answer a lot of these questions in a way that will help to break them down in just a different light. It'll be very entertaining to see how this takes shape, but definitely the question that he's asking in terms of like speaking to these couples and things like that, I definitely think myself, which is why the show is gonna take a very interesting turn, a very interesting twist in this coming year. You'll see. I won't say too much.
And one day, someone's gonna blow your back out, and you're actually gonna enjoy it because they're actually gonna respect you. Because you're actually going to respect yourself. Amen. And one day, someone's going to blow your back out. And you're actually going to enjoy it. Because they're actually going to respect you. Because you're...
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so too. Until you find that guy, I hope you don't have to kiss a lot of frogs. And then when you finally find that guy, I hope it's magical for you. I agree.
Do you want anything?
For you to die.
Well, that's inevitable.
How was your night at Raquel's last night?
Wait, what was that? Was that supposed to was that supposed to be a joke, or that was just supposed to be like a what, like say it and then move on type of thing?
I was at Schwartz's.
You were also
And one...
Do you want anything?
for you to die.
Well, that's inevitable.
How was your night at Raquel's last night?
I was at Schwartz's.
You were also at Schwartz's when you were together on FaceTime, so you being at Schwartz's doesn't really mean anything. Still haven't said sorry for what you actually did.
Every time I try to apologize to you, it just makes you more angry.
Good, let me be angry.
Okay.
You should still apologize.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt you. I really did not want to hurt you.
You didn't want to hurt me, but then you continued to do something repeatedly over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Dude, it happened.
That
and
would
we
hurt
didn't-
me.
It happened, and it didn't happen for a while.
Oh, great. I've been with you for 9 years. Back when you lived with Schwartz, we became friends. When you were literally like wearing combat boots and skinny jeans and didn't have a dime to your name driving a 1997 Honda Civic. I loved you then when you had nothing. You got a little bit of money, a little bar, a little band, and then this girl is like gonna act like enamored with you, like, oh my God, you're so, oh. Because that's what you want, huh? You want someone to just gas you up. That girl is searching for identity in men. She has no identity of her own. Willing to stoop so low as to one of her best friend's life partners.
Wait,
and
that's her best
someone
friend?
you think is like a good person you should be around?
Is that her best friend? Wait, is she saying that that's one of her best friends?
Willing to stoop so low as to one of her best friend's life partners. And that's someone you think is like a good person you should be around?
I don't know how it happened. It happened. We became really good friends. Like I was seeking something that I wasn't getting here. And that's selfish. That's really selfish.
Selfish is the nicest word you could use.
It's horrible. Me and Raquel became like really good friends.
I don't give a about
Raquel! Your friendship is bullshit.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Wait, what the?
It's disgusting.
You know everything. You
It's
know
disgusting.
everything. Hey, everybody.
You are
This
disgusting.
person knows everything.
Your friendship
you can't
with
tell
Raquel
anybody. You
is
can't,
disgusting.
You cannot tell. Well, guess what? It's real because she treats me with respect. Something I haven't gotten from you in a long time.
So I'm the scapegoat.
I'm not saying
I'm
you're the
to blame.
scapegoat. I'm trying to get you to understand that, like,
That you just had to my friend.
it wasn't about it was about a connection where we actually, like, were respecting each other and giving each other confidence.
That's you right now.
Ariana, the relationship it wasn't the same, Ariana. We would be separated all the time. Like, you go your way, I go my way. We had no sex life. I lost all my mojo.
So my friend.
The thing that makes
So my friend then. Get your mojo back, my friend.
Once I turned 40, I was like, this can't be the rest of my life.
That is a very normal thing.
I know.
That's why you go to couples therapy together. And we could have. We both have things. You either get through them together or you break up.
I tried to ask you, I tried to talk to you. Like, dude, these past few months, the amount of times that I got an apology out of you, I could count on one hand.
Last few months, you were already my friend. The truth is that you were
put
already
pressure
having
on me to stay in the relationship. 2 weeks ago, I was like, Ariana, I want to end things.
You should not be here if you want to end.
That's one of my questions. The reason I keep watching is because I'm trying to see if they're going to address the fact that, like, why hasn't the relationship already ended?
In the
You
relationship.
literally told me, I am not letting you break up with.
And there it is. There it is. I was waiting for it the whole time. As soon as I heard the situation, because I don't know the backstory of this, I don't watch the show. I was like, why has the relationship not ended? She's saying all the, oh, F my friend, you F my friend. Okay. So if we're acknowledging that openly, what are we still discussing here? Why are we even still having a and there it is. There it is.
With me,
Tom,
you're gonna have to force me out of this.
Yes, if that was true, then you should have never been in my bed after that night.
I
you should
felt
have not
really
been.
bad.
You felt bad, Tom. You have to end it. You have to leave.
At that point,
But
it was
you
too
were
late.
already Raquel. Is the
It wasn't
point.
that. It wasn't
It
just.
wasn't that. It wasn't that. That you somebody else was not part of why you weren't there.
It's not that easy.
Then don't be a coward.
It's not just about somebody stroking my ego that this happened. And it's not about looks. It came from something much deeper. Like, as time went on, like, we became this, like, support system with each other.
Don't you dare.
This is very weird. I'm trying to really understand how this is even possible to have. Can someone explain to me the backstory of this show? I don't understand how this is even possible. This is fascinating to me. I don't understand how this is possible that they're even still having a conversation after this when she's knowing how she feels about this, knowing how upset she is. Like, why? Like, what is? There's no even need for closure. Like, we know. I'm confused. And this is the problem that I have sometimes. And some of you do this. I've noticed some of you do this. When a guy treats you badly and you don't like how he's showing up for you, if he's even showing up at all, you can't then say, okay, it's your job to leave. Be a man and just leave me alone. Be a man and just stop talking to me. Be a man and just walk away or break up with me. Why don't we? You have to take accountability and responsibility for, if someone is treating me badly, I have standards for myself and I walk away, not just waiting for him to walk away. Because think about it logically. Why would he walk away if she's going to still be with him and he can sleep with her friend? What is he losing there? Just, I know I'm not saying that it's good that he treated her that way, but I'm just saying, like, there has to be self-accountability. If someone treats me badly, I walk away, not wait for them to walk away, not wait for them to block me, not wait for them to put their foot
Talk to me about
down.
a deep connection. I cannot believe you.
I know you don't want to hear it.
Shut up!
It's important that you know that.
I don't want to hear it because it's disgusting. Shut up. Say it to her. When are you gonna see her next?
Tomorrow.
Great.
This is weird. See, now she's doing this is a coping mechanism when, you know, you feel defeated in terms of like losing your person or your partner, that you almost like, oh yeah, when are you going to go F her tomorrow? Or when are you going to go see her? Or she must be so much better than me. It doesn't really, like, you've lost the person at that point. So talking more about the other person is not going to do you any good.
And what, are you guys gonna kiss and hug, talk about your deep connection?
It's a coping mechanism. It's coping.
No.
Why don't you just say no? I was ride or die for you. And I had her back as well. And the fact that she's continued to smile in my face while also smiling on FaceTime with you is one of the most god-awful, disgusting things I've ever heard of. Why don't you be sorry you ever did it?
She's not. Oh, wait, she doesn't. This is going to make me mad. We have to move on. She doesn't get it. She's not mad that he did it. He doesn't regret doing it. And it's, I don't think she gets it on the show here, you know, no diss towards her, but she's not understanding. He's just telling her about this, but he doesn't actually regret doing it. Like, he doesn't regret cheating. He doesn't regret building a relationship with her. He doesn't regret connecting with her. He doesn't regret anything. He just feels bad that she feels bad. So I don't see how, well, I shouldn't say that. I should say, if you're in this situation, you have to realize the truth of the matter, which is that for her in this situation, he doesn't care how she feels from the standpoint of the cheating is bad. He just cares that she feels bad, but he doesn't feel bad about doing the action. He would do it again, right? Someone says, what show is this? I don't know. Someone say it in the chat what show this is. I'm not sure what show this is at all, to be honest.
Listen, do y'all know that a man will literally choose to walk away from a good thing, walk away and lose a good woman, rather than become a better him? A man will know that he is dealing with a good woman, a woman who requires more out of him, a woman who is calling him out in the areas that he lack in, not because she's judging him or talking down on him, but simply because she sees more in him. She wants more for him. She knows that he's lacking in that area and she wants him to do better. It literally messes with a man's ego for a woman to sit there and criticize him in any type of way. And me personally, I feel like that's a good thing. I feel like that's how you grow. You tell me what I need to work on, I tell you what you need to work on. But some men simply cannot take criticism. They will literally rather walk away and go to a weaker minded woman who isn't going to require them to upgrade their lives in any type of way. They would rather go to a woman who's going to feed their ego and make them feel like they are doing amazing and that they do not need to better themselves in any type of way. You tell a man that he lacking in the area and he gonna take it as you like trying to judge him in some type of way. Therefore,
Okay, so this makes me think of something that happens in my own life. So I'll tell you guys a little bit of a story from my life. Whenever people are in a place in their life where they are comfortable being not growing, I should say, not evolving and not addressing their issues, it's more comfortable for them to be around people who are also not growing and not addressing their own issues, because then no one has to talk about it, no one has to address it, and we can both be degenerates together. So I'll give you an example of what I mean, and this is not an attack on anyone that does this. I'm just going to tell you guys a little story. So for those of you who know me, I quit drinking probably over 2.5 years ago. So I don't drink at all. Not a glass of wine, not a shot, not a nothing. I also don't smoke. I've never smoked. That's never been my thing. So even when I go out, go to parties, go to anything, I don't drink. Now, something that happened in my friendships at that time when I decided to quit drinking is that it became uncomfortable for other people who were friends of mine that obviously we shared similar lifestyles. So drinking, some of them would smoke and things like that. Our lifestyles became very incompatible now and very uncomfortable, I should also say, because when we would go out now, the times where we used to be like, hey, shot o'clock, let's take a shot together, we'll drink, we'll smoke, we'll do this. I'm wavy, you're wavy, everyone's wavy, is no longer there. And what made it uncomfortable is that then in my presence, right, or around me, they would have to, take part of their vices while I'm just there not doing anything. I'm in control. I look, not professional, but like, I look like I have self-respect. I don't act like an idiot. I don't act like a degenerate. So it became very uncomfortable because then being around me, instead of it being like, oh, let's all act like degenerates together, became like oh, well, I'm acting like a degenerate and this guy is not. He looks like an adult, which makes me feel worse about myself because when I'm acting like a degenerate, but you're not, I look like an idiot now. So it makes me uncomfortable to have to actually think about what I'm doing and why it's bad. And I don't want to think about that. So I'm just going to go and hang out with other degenerates so that I can feel like I belong instead of feeling out of place being around you who's not acting like that. So I say all that to say it's something that happens in whether it be your relationships or your friendships. When you make adjustments to grow and better yourself, it makes people who are uninterested in doing that very uncomfortable to be around you. So it applies perfectly to what she's talking about, where if you're growing and evolving as a woman and you come around a man who's not ready to do that, all he does is sit around, smoke weed, play video games, play 2K, Call of Duty all day, and you're growing and evolving and bettering yourself, even the just being around you will become uncomfortable for him because it'll always be a reminder that you're going somewhere and he's not. Right. And so that can happen in your relationships with the man that you're dating. It can also happen with your friend in your friendships with the woman that you spend time around. Right. Because it definitely happened to me. 100%.
If you want him to love you, if you want him to respect you, if you want him to have a long-term good relationship with you, you have to stop giving out discounts. Now, what the heck do I mean by that? I'm going to explain it in a story, but please pay attention to what I have to say in this video because I'm going to save you months, potentially years of heartbreak. Cool? So let's say that you want to buy a car and things have been going very well for you. So you decide to buy a Lamborghini. So you walk into the Lamborghini dealership and you say, "Sir, how much for this Lamborghini?" He says, "Ma'am, that'll be $400,000. You say, "Damn, that's kind of steep. I'm going to go over to Toyota because I can find something with better gas mileage, probably more comfortable, and for a tenth of the price." You know what the Lamborghini salesman is going to tell you? He's going to be like, "Go have fun." He's not going to chase after you. He's not going to go after you saying, no, but please take the Lamborghini because if you take it, look how beautiful it is. Look at the status that it'll give you. And if you take it today, guess what? I'll throw in extra whatever benefit. Do you think he's going to do that? No, because he's a salesman at fucking Lamborghini. Because he knows exactly what he's selling, and he knows that there's only a specific group of people that can even appreciate the car that he is selling and can even afford it. Now, what do you think they're going to do over at Toyota? A car dealership that makes cars that anybody can afford and most people actually have in their garage. They're going to try to give you discounts. They're going to try to give you so many incentives to take the car today. They're going to say, "Ma'am, I'll give you this much percentage of a discount. I will throw in this and this and this into the deal. Just please take the car today." The Toyota dealership knows what it's selling isn't a premium. It's something that anybody can have. So they try to ram it down people's throats. The Lamborghini dealership knows it's something so exclusive that only a specific number of people can even be worthy of achieving. So one is trying to get you desperately to buy their car. The other one is almost trying to get you out of the way so you make way for the people who can actually afford the car. When you give discounts, you're basically saying, "Hey, I'm not worth all of this that I'm charging. Let me lower the price so that your broke ass can have access to me." No. So how does this translate into your dating life? You being overly available, overly pleasing, overly forgiving of his mistakes is like you giving a discount. You are lowering the price of what it takes to get your heart, to get your attention, when in reality, you should be, if anything, increasing it so that he lives up to that price and is actually worthy and actually puts in the work to have you. By the way,
Okay, so I like what he said here. It's a good analogy in terms of the car. Now, it's funny. I want to ask you guys a question. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. Have you ever seen a commercial for a Lamborghini or even a Ferrari, like on TV anywhere? Like, have you ever just been scrolling through channels and things like that and seen an actual commercial for someone driving a Lamborghini or advertising it, or even a Ferrari, right? Never. You've never seen one, because Lamborghini and Ferrari don't make commercials for the same reason of what he just discussed. They understand that the people that they're selling cars to, as funny as it sounds, probably don't even spend a lot of time watching TV. That's some, matrix stuff, control stuff that we won't get into today. That's just some spiritual stuff. But they understand that their clientele, the people that can afford their cars, aren't really even watching TV. So advertising to the general public a product that most of the general public is not going to be able to afford makes absolutely zero sense. So the reason that I say all that is understanding your worth and your price is very important, and understanding the psychology behind when your price is supposed to be high, when you want a certain type of treatment, when you expect a certain type of way a man will show up for you. You also have to be, you have to be aligning yourself with that in terms of how you present yourself. It's not just about, and I know some people might think, well, it's not about the men. I'm not going to do everything for the men and blah, blah, blah. It's not about doing everything for the men. It's about understanding if you want to attract high quality partners, you also have to present yourself a particular type of way so that you can attract high quality partners. If you want to be the most desirable, so you have the most desirable options, then you have to present yourself as a desirable woman. So if you're going to present yourself as a desirable woman, you have to even understand what desirability is and what it looks like. And ironically, as a woman, part of your desirability is also your ability to set boundaries and not be overly available, or like he's talking about, giving discounts to men. Because when you give discounts, you actually come across as less desirable and more quote unquote affordable. We're like, in today's show, we're not trying to make you desirable to the everyday man, the low quality men, the men that you meet at the club or at the bar, right? We're trying to make you desirable to the top upper echelon of men that might be very few and far between, but when you finally do meet them, he actually wants to invest in you back instead of just, walking over you like all the other girls that he'll meet at any point in his life, right?
Like, men don't care at all whether women are successful in their career. It's not a determinant of their attractiveness. In fact, it's often the contrary. Well, these women that I'm talking about, they were often alone. Why? Well, they were beautiful. So that intimidated 90% of men right there. They're smart. So that's another 90% of the remaining 10%. They're accomplished and wealthy. Well, first of all, who's going to approach them? And second, who are they going to accept? Because women are hypergamous, right?
Does that mean that men are insecure and sort of emasculated by a strong, successful woman?
Sure. Yeah, well, but there's reason for that. It's not weakness on the part of men, exactly. It's the desire of the woman to find someone who brings a benefit to the relationship. And why? Well, because a woman will make herself vulnerable when she has a child. And so she's looking for a man who'll be helpful compared to her. Okay, so if the woman is full of ability, well, then her standards for a guy who's going to be helpful get very high. And that's hard on her because it decreases the pool of available candidates radically. So there's a negative relationship between IQ and women and the probability of being married. So it's harsh. Now, are men intimidated? Well, yes, obviously. Are men intimidated by beautiful women? Well, you can answer that, especially if you're young. Why? The probability that any given beautiful woman is going to reject you when you're a young man is it's basically 100%. Now, it's not exactly 100%, and there are exceptions, but the default response is rejection. And
so he's saying two important concepts here. Basically, what he's saying is there's particular things that men are looking for women. One of them is not your success in your career, which I think is 100% true. Men are looking for something very different than women are looking for, which is fine. We're different. We're meant to be different, and we're meant to serve different roles in relationships. Also, what he's talking about is how really successful women can struggle a lot to find good relationships because of this idea of kind of like a redundancy factor. When two people are really good at the same thing and are really successful in the same area, there creates some deficiencies in a relationship that wouldn't be there if two people were good at two separate things. So what I mean by that is when you get a woman who's really good at tapping into her masculinity in the sense of like, really being a boss babe, taking care of all her work stuff and doing all this other stuff. She's maybe high up in corporate and all that stuff. She's beautiful, she's powerful and all that good stuff. That's great. But then it creates a scenario in which when she meets a man who matches that energy as well, sometimes it can create a scenario where they're both good at the same thing. So then who's good at the emotional side? Who's good at the spiritual side? Who's good at the, emotional unboxing side and things like that, right? So then the skill sets that are supposed to help, create like a yin and yang end up being like, we have the same skill set in the same way, but we're just kind of competing in the same place. But then there's a complete lack of, I guess we can say, what's the word I'm looking for? Deficiency in one particular area or in multiple areas because of that. That's why I think a lot of those type of relationships struggle unless the boss babe woman, super high up corporate, making $100,000, $300,000, unless she finds a more feminine man that's willing to like stay at home, do that emotional unboxing. How are you doing today? Let me rub your shoulders. Let me rub your feet type of vibe. Then a relationship like that could actually work, right? Because then the woman is taking that yin and then the man's taking that yang, and that can kind of coincide and work with each other. But there has to be a yin and yang in order for the relationship to flow properly. Someone says, I don't want a feminine man. Well, I would assume most of you aren't looking for a feminine man, which is why the roles are the way that they are. Okay, let's hop into our next segment of the day. Okay, for those of you who know what's coming up, please spam it up in the chat so that the new members of the show can know what we're about to do here. For those of you who are unfamiliar, you're in for quite a treat. Okay, quite a treat. Okay, it's a special time. It's an amazing time. It's a time where you're going to laugh and you're going to cry. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your phone. Don't look anywhere else in your entire home if you don't know the time. I'm going to tell you the time. Should I yell or should I whisper? Which one, chat? Tell me in the chat. Okay. All right, chat. Let's hop into our Discord segment of the show. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll explain this to you right now. So Discord times where all the amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their relationship or their situationship, and I answer it live on the show. Now, there are a few different ways for you to send in your question. I'm going to explain them to you right now. There are 3 ways exactly. First way is through our free relationship advice forum. Now, when I'm scrolling through this here, the way you submit your question, I should say first, go to the link in my bio on TikTok if you're watching there, or if you're watching this on YouTube, go in my description and then click where it says Discord. And then you can join our Discord and ask your question in the free section. Now, you see all these highlighted questions? I haven't gotten to these yet because there's a lot of questions in our Discord. And it's a first come, first serve forum. So I do have to get to these wow, there's a lot. I do have to get to these questions first before I can get to yours. So obviously I wouldn't be able to get to your question today. It'll take me too long. It'll probably take me a few weeks to get to yours if you ask it today in the free section. Now, if you're impatient and you don't want to wait that long to get your question answered, you do have another option to kind of skip the line of people and not have to wait that long for that queue. That way is by going into our premium relationship advice forum and asking your question there. Now, the only way you're allowed to drop your question into our premium relationship advice forum is if when you go to the link in my bio on TikTok or in my description on YouTube, you click premium Discord relationship advice first. And then when you click that, you are going to be prompted to donate to the show and then also send in your title of your question and then your Discord username. That way, when you send in your donation, I get a notification on my phone that that's you and that's your question, that's your username. And then when you're in here, I can verify that your question's supposed to be in here and that it's fair to everyone that you're getting to skip the line and not have to wait, right? That's how we keep it fair for everyone here. Now, the third way to send in your question is for those of you who, what is going on? Is for those of you who are wanting to ask me a question and you don't want your information to be read out on the show. The way that this works is this link is in our Discord. It's also in the link in my bio on TikTok or in my description. You click where it says private relationship advice. You can type out your question there and then as many details as you want, send it in to me. And then I respond with a voice message, usually 8 to 10 minutes long, responding to your question. I'm a little bit behind on my private questions because I've actually had an influx of a lot. I don't know why, but just had an influx of a lot. And then that's how we do that there for the private questions. Someone says the premium questions, when do I get a response? Every show. So I clear these out every show. So even if I don't respond for yours today because you didn't send it in by the time the show finishes, I'll answer it on the next show. Okay. So let's start off with this one here from Lily, who says, wet Squirtle, no fireworks, the saga continues. For those of you who don't know what Squirtle is what's sitting between your legs, and a Squirtle is a water Pokemon. So ask yourself why we would refer to a water Pokemon for what's in between your legs. I am still seeing the ED guy. Okay. ED for erectile dysfunction. Go do yoga and realign your chakras. Oh, you're telling me to go do yoga. It's okay. It's okay. We'll see how this goes. His Viagra pills are working. Oh, okay. Which has been a fun time. He stays up for hours. I am happy. Okay. Anyways, I followed your advice and it worked. He gives me so much princess treatment that his nickname for me is Princess. Okay. For Valentine's Day, he bought me a diamond necklace, a dozen roses, a $50 bottle of wine, a handwritten letter, and took me out to a 5-star restaurant. All right, he pulling out the stops. He pulling out the stops. He is buying me, wait. He's buying me a Tesla and taking me on vacation to Europe. Where? What? Okay. I got the flu, so he sent me chicken noodle soup and a heart-shaped cookie. Okay. He also says I'm a 10 out of 10. He's looking for a wifey, and wait, how old is this guy again? Sorry, I forgot. He loves that I did all the things I did, which I learned from the Players Club, and tells me how sexy it is that I made him wait. I don't pursue him and make things... And make things like buying diamonds fun and KINKY. Okay, you're smart. You're following a lot of the stuff I be talking about. Okay, you're doing this well. He never finishes when we have pineapples. Strange. And it makes me feel insecure. He seems to enjoy the pineapples. Well, yeah, he's filled with Viagra, of course. Often shaking and telling me how amazing he's shaking. He's penetrating you and shaking. What do I do? Is it a big deal? I think it's kind of strange that he's shaking. Someone said he's shaking off the pills. It could be that his heart is pumping so fast because I think the Viagra makes your dilates your blood vessels, so your blood's flowing a little bit more. So it could be honestly because his heart's pumping faster off them Viagra pills. Like no joke. I also don't know how old he is. I'm assuming he's on the older side if he has enough money to do this type of stuff for you, which is fine. I don't think it's necessarily a problem that it is a bit strange that he's not ejaculating. I'll say it like that when you guys are sleeping together. So something to monitor. also you have to ask yourself, I get the ED can serve as you guys, sleeping together a couple of times if you just started dating. But also, like, when I talk about relationships with you all, we also want to focus not just on, am I enjoying the moment right now, but how sustainable is what we're doing for the long term. So the reason I say that is because for you, Lily, I have to ask you, and this is a question you have to ask yourself, is it sustainable for me to be in a relationship with a guy? I know he treats you well, but for you to be in a relationship with a guy who every time you guys sleep together, he needs to take Viagra pills. Like, and I'm not saying that, I have the answer to that question. That's really a question you have to ask yourself and answer for yourself. If that feels sustainable to you, that whether it be the morning time that I'm horned up and I want to ride him, sleep, get on top of him, or the afternoon or after a date or in the alley, I want to get busy in the car. Like, if I know I have a high libido, am I okay with him having to take a pill and pop a pill every time I want to sleep with him, and then I have to wait like 20 minutes for it to get stuff going? If that is okay with you, maybe you're someone with not a super high libido, so you don't need it everywhere all the time spontaneously or anything like that, then I'm sure this can be a situation that works for you. Now, on the opposite end, if you're someone who you need it, you be waking up thinking about it, going to bed thinking about it, in the middle of the day thinking at work, and you have a really high libido, this might not be a sustainable relationship for you, just because that means that at any time he's going to have to be taking pills for you guys to even enjoy, intercourse. In which case that might not be enjoyable for you after a while, right? We're not just extrapolating for 1 week or 1 month. We're talking about years and years and years. If that's going to be the only way you guys can sleep together, then you're either going to have to accept that because that is okay for you, or you're going to have to answer yourself honestly and say, yeah, despite the fact that you treat me well, I can't be in a situation where every time we sleep together, you need to take Viagra pills. And it's not his fault, but you have to be honest with yourself about what's sustainable for you in the long run and what's not. And once you answer that question, you have to then move accordingly. Because the problem with the situation like this is because it can be addicting to get 5-star restaurants. He's getting you a Tesla, taking you to Europe, and then you allow that to distract you from the answer to your question, which is, I don't think that this is sustainable for me in terms of like the intimacy. If the answer is it's not sustainable, then you need to leave despite anything he's willing to give you, because you're just going to end up wasting your time in the end anyways, right? And that's not, there's no purpose to wasting your time at all. Okay, I don't want that for you. All right, we can go right into the free section now. Okay, let's scroll down here and let's answer some questions from the free section. Let me just make sure we got to all of these. Alrighty. Okay, did that one as well. Okay, so this is one I think has not been done yet. Scroll down to the bottom here. Okay, all right. So this is a question from LP Baby. Hi, Tommy. I come to you. Sorry, I completely misread that at the. I completely sorry. My mind is in the wrong place. I come to you for Wise Players Club dad insight perspective advice. Sorry, my mind's in the wrong place. Every time I think of the new guy, 34, soon to be 35 years old, New Year's Eve salsa guy, I, 33, I'm seeing in a talking stage, my Squirtle gets extremely wet and lubricated. So for those of you guys who don't know our code word for what's in between your legs is Squirtle, because it's a water Pokemon, okay? This happens when I first force myself to recall our dates, to collect info, and to see if he's what I'm looking for in a serious boyfriend. Also, of course, every time he hugs me, holds my hand, kisses on my cheek, when he greets me, says bye, he's Latino, so it's customary, my Squirtle gets a little wet too. But I've noticed recently that when I'm not with him, I only see him once or twice a week. Like, okay, yeah, for 2 to 2.5 hours per date. And I think of him, my Squirtle feels really extremely tender. Really extremely tender, and it's extremely wet and lubricated, not discharge wet. Thank you for this information. Thank you. But the wet where I want to be penetrated wet. I know this is me being horned up, I know this is normal and I can DJ and take care of that, no problem. But I would like your advice on how to manage it when I'm with him in person so I don't sorry. So I don't accidentally do anything anything pineapple wise ahead of the pineapple timeline that I will regret later. For those of you new, pineapples just means SEX. It's just our code word. I share this because I'd like to know your thoughts. Why do you always spell thoughts like that? Okay. And if others have ever experienced this with a new guy and what they've done besides DJing and using toys like Tracy's dog. Tracy's dog is our Players Club #1 recommended ace toy that will get you through a lot. Trust me. Not necessarily looking for pineapple tips, open to it though. I'm really looking for strategies to curb the urges when I'm with him in person. I'm trying to pray and attend church to stop these thoughts and urges, but need more strategies. You definitely need some holy water. May you please make a show or point out about this in a future episode. I don't want to be one of your tough soldiers. Oh, because she's talking about a show in which I said I'd lose a bunch of shoulders. That get lost in battle before month 6 of dating him and don't want to have pineapples before I'm comfortable, before he's locked in, / before he's super emotionally committed, so he's not going to want to leave after. Okay. This is okay. So this is continued. I watched your previous shows regarding the pineapple topics, even watched the surprise show 2 times. As soon as it dropped, I didn't say nothing, so I'm aware of my pineapple trigger. She's talking about the show I just made about how to enjoy pineapples with a man, okay? My triggers to getting horned up are him touching me, my back, thigh, hand in public, dates, drinks make me horned up. Okay, so this is an important thing to make sure that you don't do is get drunk. I don't know if I want to wait before marriage, before pineapples. That's the goal. But I want to be realistic, and I don't know if I want that or if I want to wait. So I'm unsure how to communicate this, if at all. Like you said, I don't want to talk a big game and then have my Squirtle bust down wide open. What am I doing? What I am doing is that I'm working on taking it slow. I'm not having privacy with him, DJing myself, driving myself, because I'm aware of how horned up he makes me just by thinking of him or being around me. The attraction is mutual. My questions I'd like you to speak on. What practically and realistically to do to stop being so horned up with him in person? There's nothing really you can do about that in terms of your attraction to him, because that's based on your attraction to him. And obviously, as you get to know him better, you're going to be more attracted to him. So there's nothing you can do in the sense of stop yourself from being attracted to him. But what you can do is you can redirect the energy. So what I mean by that is my best advice to you is make sure you're trying to do things with him that require some sort of like active focus on something. That is the best way to redirect energy. So for example, if your dates can be something like painting together, or let's say you're going into a place where you have to draw something. I don't know what places you could go. You'd have to draw or listen to something, some sort of activity that you guys can be doing. That at least is a way to kind of redirect the energy here. I shouldn't have even said watching something, because watching is a passive action and it's a very easy place to be in your own thoughts while something else is happening, right? So I wouldn't recommend things like obviously watching a movie. I wouldn't recommend things like just, going to his house and watching a show on Netflix or anything like that. They're very passive. Things that require your attention, like you have to actually focus to do it, those are better because it's a way to kind of redirect the flow of energy when you're really built up. Right? Do I need to communicate with this guy at all about this? I don't want to talk a big game and fold because he doesn't respect me. No, don't. Like, you're already on a path where you're going well from all your other messages that you sent me about this guy. You're on a path where you're going well in terms of his perception of you. I don't think there's any reason to talk about this. There's no reason to talk up a big game. Oh, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. He already gets the vibe that you take yourself seriously through the fact that you haven't even really been kissing him like that, and you even talked to him about the kissing issue and things like that. So you set good boundaries. There's no reason to like go over the top talking about you don't sleep with guys he gets the point, right? So just keep it to yourself and be about action. That's what's really going to show him something. Your thoughts on the answer below. He now happens to have more clarity on the 5-year plan. What do you know on his career, goal working, to stay at his job and be promoted at his current job? He wants to travel more. He's learning French, perhaps to leave Europe due to Trump. He doesn't have a lot of relationship experience. He wants to continue learning by taking more computer science courses at his job. He wants to have a stable long-term relationship and possibly children if that's in his future. Your thoughts on his long-term plan? Answer, please. Him having clarity only makes me feel better about my wet Squirtle. Okay. Yeah. If a guy has clarity and he's able to tell you what his plan is for the near future, that's also a very good thing. I think all the things that you said here that he wants for himself, in you learning that, those are all good signs that at least he has some sort of plan. It was worrying me before because you were saying that he just doesn't know where he's going to end up in the next 5 years, which is not good. But if it seems like he has at least some goals that he sets for himself, which includes having a happy, healthy relationship, right, which is good. That I think you can work with. And as long as you're seeing that he's working towards that. So for example, he talked about he wants to get promoted at his current job and he wants to travel more, learning French, right? These are things you should be seeing him doing, right? As time goes on. If he's saying he has goals for himself, but then he's actually not doing the actions necessary to reach those goals, that's a concern. Now you want to kind of evaluate on an ongoing basis, are you actually taking action towards those goals? Then you can at least feel good about the fact that what he said he wanted for himself, he's actually pursuing, which is good because that can be copy and pasted to his relationship with you. When he says, I want to do A, B, and C with you, you guys actually do that, or he actually works towards doing that, okay? I hope that makes sense to you, all right? Let's go to our next question here. Let me see. Oh, wow. We have a lot building up here. This one I believe was, this was skipped? Okay. All right. B says, hi, Tomisin. Questions on your timeline. In your relationship timeline, is it okay to hold hands in the first 1 to 2 months? You just mentioned kissing and hugging. Yes, you can hold hands, right? 100%, you're allowed to hold hands. And after 3 to 4 months, can he use Tracy's dog or other toys on me? And also everything you mentioned, mouth fingers, etc. Thanks for all your advice. Okay, it's going to sound weird, but I'm actually going to say no toys for that 3 to 4 month period, just because once you introduce toys, you're going more in depth in a place where, one, it makes it harder to say no to the final thing, where him actually penetrating you, right? Because the thing about toys is they're going to make the process of what you guys are doing even more pleasurable, in a way where you're going to be weaker to allowing him to do things that will kind of be mistakes, right? And so I don't want to add too many things that can become roadblocks towards you being able to like set a boundary. Because truthfully and the honest thing about it is the hardest thing is being able to set a boundary when you're feeling a lot of pleasure. Let's just be real. So my advice is keep the toys until after you guys have actually slept together, and then have the toys be something that gets introduced to add some spice into things, change things up, and make it even more pleasurable. So that should be in addition to the after you guys are already dating and then you're actually sleeping together part of the timeline, right? Of the pineapple, the SEX timeline, not the before part. That kind of constitutes as like the freaky, slut me out type of part where like you're doing a lot of different things other than just sleeping together type of vibe. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Let's go into our next question here. Let's see here. Okay, we're gonna table this one from LP Baby, and then this one is from Alexa. Okay, is she doing too much? Is she? Okay. Okay, so my friend Desi wanted me to send this in so she can get some advice. Okay. She's talking to this guy named David. For backstory, they started talking like 15 to 20 days ago. They already had pineapples already, and she loved it. LMAO. LOL. But he wasn't distant afterwards. Oh, sorry. But he was distant afterwards and had the excuse. I need glasses, chat. I can't see my screen very well from here. That's why I misread some words. I don't have a phone. I use. Wait, what? He had the excuse for being distant by saying, I don't have a phone. I use my nanas. And he was like extremely sick in the hospital. So Desi let it slide. How old are you all? How old are you all? He uses his nana's phone. And she even gave him a bag of chocolates when he was sick as a get well gift. What are we reading here? I hope this isn't a child's message. You didn't specify your age. Like 5 to 10 days ago, this is why I want you guys to specify your age. Like 5 to 10 days ago, she gave him a gift with his favorite candy and flowers and 10 notes saying how much she liked him because he asked what she likes about him. She put the notes in a jar and asking him to be her. What? Oh, sorry. I'm just so lost. I'm trying to her Valentine, and she really liked the gift and was so happy. She texted me saying how he might become her boyfriend soon, and they've been. Is this what I hope this ain't a child because they slept together, but the way you're messaging this, it sounds like you guys are on the younger side. Become her boyfriend soon, and they've been back to talking regularly. Well, now he's distant again and not talking to her as much. Then this morning, she texted me saying she'll buy him a new phone or iPad so he can talk to her more often. What? She wants to force him to speak to her. Obviously, I talked her out of it because that's insane. Anyways, she wants does she actually want my advice? I don't think she does. On what she should do to get his attention or get over him. Because she feels like she's losing it over him. And she doesn't want that. She also wants to know what to get him for Valentine's Day. Should she get him something slight or... Update. Desi's friend texted David and forced him to talk to Desi because apparently he didn't want to because he thought Desi was moving too fast and all the love bombing was scaring him away. So Desi said she wants to move on and actually love herself again because she felt like she lost it over this boy she barely even knows. Anyways, my friend Desi has moved on, but turns out David had a whole family. He's with another girl taking care of her kid. So we're actually talking about adults, chat. So wow. Sorry, he was with another girl taking care of her kid, and no, he's not the baby dad of the other woman's kid. One thing that kind of bothers me when you guys send in your questions, no diss, but it just kind of bothers me. Sometimes there will be so many details about so many other things of the story. And then when it comes to the things that we really want to understand better and understand how did we get to this point, that's like the part that you skip over and just like, oh, it's whatever. Yeah, we found out this and it's whatever. We found out he has a whole family and we found out he's taking care of another kid. That's the part that's 2 sentences. Yeah, that's the part we'll skip over. We'll pretend like it's not really. Why didn't you give us details about that part? I don't understand when you guys send in these questions sometimes. Anyways, Alexa, I'm glad your friend realized she was wasting her time. This stuff about buying him an iPad. So, I mean, if he's taking care of someone else's child, I'm assuming you guys are all in like your 30s, which is kind of scaring me because the fact that she even believed this idea that a 30-year-old man or a guy in at least his late 20s doesn't have no phone and is using his nana's phone. I can't even repeat it. Using his nana's phone to call, that's the only way he could. You need to tell your friend, I'm gonna give you this Alexa. Tell your friend to watch every episode of my show since its existence. Just go through and just put it on autoplay. Watch every single episode. Even watch the Discords, watch the Discord questions as well, so she can see how other people are looking silly, so that she can start to realize the ways that she's made mistakes as well. She just has to keep watching the show, because there's nothing for me to explain in terms of like why this is wrong, because you know that it's wrong and she even knows why it's wrong. It's just like she can't help herself. That's the other thing that kind of bothers me. See, when you're sending in a question for a friend, I need your friend to also have a desire to have her situation fixed. Because if you're sending it in for your friend because you know she needs her life changed, but she doesn't have a desire to change her life, nothing of what I'm saying is going to matter, because she's just going to have it come in 1 year and say, yeah, cool that he says that, but I still want to be with the guy. Until she has a desire to say, no, my life needs to be changed. No, this isn't good enough. No, I actually deserve more than this. That's the only time where things can actually change. So as much as you want to help her, and as much as you want to help her come to her realizations, to see the light, she's never going to see that until she decides to actually see that for herself. So maybe it took this guy with a kid finding out that he had a whole family and finding out that he was taking care of someone else's kid to realize that. But also the reality of it is she should have realized that that was going on early on, when he was telling her that he doesn't have a phone and he only uses his nana's phone. Okay. That's why I say, I think watching the show, especially in the live version where she can see, the context of me talking about situations, and then also going through the Discord and hearing other people's story, will help her put connections together and be able to see in the future when men are obviously and clearly lying to you about something, right? Instead of gaslighting yourself into believing what you want to believe, right? It can be a very dangerous game to play. All right. So let's go on to our next question. What is, make sure we open that. Okay. Yes, we did this, I believe. Oh, did we? I don't think we did this. Oh, yeah, I guess we skipped this one. Okay. All right. So wait, but this is another one from B. We can't do two in a row. All right, I'll just do this for now. Okay. It's the 47-year-old female in Chicago. The title of this is Don't Talk to Guys at the Club and Where to Look for High Value Men. It's the 47-year-old female in Chicago that had the attachment to the 52-year-old DJ in New York City. I like going to clubs to dance for the music, not to hook up. I'm one of the few. Should I rule out all the guys at the club and not even talk to them? 99.9% of them are not looking for anything serious and creep me out being all horned up. So then why are you we won't talk about that yet. Are concerts and music festivals a bad place for me to meet men too? I wouldn't say that they're a bad place. I would just say you're going to find very similar kinds of men, right? You're going to a concert, most of the men are going to be drunk, or they're going to be high out of their mind, and they're going to be looking for a good time. That's just the reality of it, right? I like fitness and art. That's much better. So art events and the run club or bookstores or vegan events would be good 100%. Way better than going to the club, I'm not saying music festivals are bad, but once again, do you think the people you're meeting there will be sober or in their right mind? Probably not. So even if you do meet a good guy, probably better for you to meet him outside of that anyways. Also, should I avoid the clubs and music festivals in New York City and New Jersey forever, where the 52-year-old male DJ and the girls will be? I'm thinking that going to a music festival in Germany is a better idea and better for me. No. Because you're then adopting the mindset that life is better where I'm not. and that the men are better where I'm not. You go to a club in Germany, in Italy, in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in wherever you go, in Nigeria, the men are the same there, and the concept is the same there. Okay, men don't change just because you change the location. So the reason I'm saying that is the answer to your problem is not just going to a club or a bar or a whatever in a different country, right? It's about understanding how to change your environment based on where you're at. Trust me, you live in New York City, you better not tell me there's any, nothing to do in your city. Okay. Don't tell me that things are boring. Don't tell me there's nowhere to go. Don't tell me there's no place to find men except the club or the bar. You live in the biggest city in North America. You have no excuse to say you don't have places you can go outside of the club or the bar. Don't tell me that for a second. Okay. Now, sorry, you said that you're going to New York City for festivals, but you're in Chicago. Even in Chicago, one of the biggest cities still in North America, you have plenty to do. I don't want to hear the excuse of I can't find things to do in my city. You have a lot to do and a lot to explore. So it doesn't just have to be even in New York. You can explore a lot of things in Chicago, okay? I'm thinking of going to music festivals in Germany instead of the festivals in New Jersey, where I know the girls will be, and he left with them last year there. So I was trying to understand what you were referring to. He's already said he will not be going this year. The festival in Germany is actually around the same price and around the same time as the one in New Jersey, and I know he won't be there. I lived in Germany for 5 years and moved back in 2018. It would be great to visit. So I'm not saying that don't go visit there and enjoy yourself. Go visit there and enjoy yourself. But don't go there thinking, oh, I'm going to go to Germany and the festival in Germany is going to be different. The types of guys I meet at the festival in Germany is going to be totally different from the guys I meet in the festivals in New York City. The other thing, I'll point you out to something you might not realize. When you go to a city like Germany, right? Even though they might speak English there, or you might even speak their language, they still know, they can tell that you're an outsider. And so when you go and you think you're meeting the love of your life in Germany, these men realize that they could sleep with you for the weekend or for the week or for the whatever and go right back to the life that they've been living. So what will happen a lot of times when you go on these trips to a different country and you meet a guy at a music festival, sure, when he realizes you're a foreigner and that you're eventually going to go back to your country and you're never going to be able to confirm anything that he told you throughout that weekend or even week that you spend with him, he'll tell you whatever you want to hear. And he'll hopefully that's what he's hoping for, to try and sleep with you in that weekend or week that you're there, tell you, oh, I'm ready for a relationship, I'm ready for this, I'm ready for that. And then he'll go right back to his girlfriend, go right back to his wife in some cases, go right back to his situation that he's been knowing was existing, but he also knows that you're never going to be able to confirm that. So I'm just saying that to help you understand, when you're a foreigner to a place and you're going to a new place, don't think that you have to be, while I do want you to enjoy yourself, I don't want you to think that what these men tell you when you meet them in Germany or whatever the case is actually the case, because it's very easy to lie or hide things when they know you're going back to a different country and they're never going to see you again. And trust me, guys will lie about a bunch of stuff. I'm telling you, they'll lie about their occupation. They'll change their whole guy. I've seen guys, I'm telling you this is the truth. I've seen guys go to a different country. They'll tell you a different name, and the whole weekend they'll have you calling them a different name. They'll create a whole different identity for themselves, a whole different occupation. They'll tell you a whole different backstory on their life just because they know they're going somewhere for a weekend and they're never going to see you again. So why do they actually need to tell you any real information? So that's why I'm just saying, be careful of that. Don't think that you're really getting somewhere by going to the festival in Germany as opposed to going to the festival in New York City, right? It's the same concept and you have to be able to discern the exact same things, right? I'd rather you go to the places you mentioned below there. Why did that do that? Why did that do that? Anyways, right? So I hope that makes sense to you. Okay. Let's go to our next question here. Alrighty. Make sure I do these all properly. This one was, mark this as red. Okay. Mercury here. Alrighty. Perfect. I made a vow to stay single for a year, but my friends with benefits wants to be more. Mercury says, hi. I'm 34 and my friends with benefits is a 33-year-old man. Is very intent on being with me as more than a friends with benefits. I should state that as friends with benefits, we really did start exactly as friends first. We spend a lot of time together because he outright tells me he loves my company and wants me around. I'm going to get up and stretch just because these type of questions aggravate me because I know where they always end up and I don't understand why you all continue to do the same thing. So let me just get up and stretch because I know where this is going to go. I haven't read it, but I know where this is going to go, and I just don't want to be extra aggravated when I answer her question, okay? I just don't like this friends with benefits stuff. It's a complete waste of time, but I don't want to yell, okay? I don't want to scream at Mercury. I want to be calm and well-adjusted so I can properly answer her question. Your friends with benefits situation went wrong. Now let's kind of break this down as if we didn't know that this was going to go wrong. Okay. All right. The problem is that I told him at the start, and even when we had first met, that I'm going to be single for all of 2025. So why did you even start? I guess we'll never know. I cannot decide, so we've identified the problem. If I should continue to stay single because I made this promise to myself, or should I let him get closer to me because he seems to be a pretty great guy? I am a serial monogamist. I have been in 3 relationships in my life. I have never been in a relationship that didn't last at least 3 years, and I have been engaged before, and these long-term relationships have kind of been back to back. I'm glad you're self-aware. My first relationship lasted from when I was 15 to 22, and then 22 to 26, engaged to him, but broke it off. And how old are you now? You're now 34, okay? Was single for about 3 months, then dated a guy 26 to 30. Oh, wow, okay. Was single for 6 months, and now my most recent from 30 to 33. Okay. This might sound great on paper, but it means that I have never really had time to discover who I am, or have time to myself to figure that out without the influence of a man. You're at least self-aware, which is a good start. I won't get too much into detail, but my family life has been pretty awful, and my blood family was pretty abusive to me, so that influences my decisions to finally live freely. While none of these men were particularly terrible except one, I think that the longevity of the relationships had less to do with the caliber of woman I am and more to do with the fact that I am malleable and will tolerate a lot. I want to build boundaries and learn what it is I truly want. Okay, so this is a good realization that you're having. He says that we are not together, but calls me baby. Makes plans for us and for the future, saying things like when we're together, when we move in, when we have kids, and even when we get married. Even though you got that thing on you, something about you makes all the guys want to wife you. It's not a crime, but you got that thing on you. Even though we are not together, this makes me feel awkwardly loyal and promised to him. He has said that he's not seeing anyone else or talking to anyone else, and that the amount of attention and time he gives me, I'd honestly be surprised if he found a way to do anything else. The other issue is that honestly, he's a solid dude. He helps me stay on track with things I want to get done. He loves hearing me yap. If I want to do something, he eagerly comes with me. He's attentive. He's incredibly kind and gentle to me and is always praising me for the things that I do. If I succeed at something, even if it's something I perceive as small, he celebrates it like I just conquered the world. He knows about my family abuse towards me and does everything he can to avoid my triggers and actively tries to undo the hurt. I have a lot of really high standards for myself, and then I feel guilty if I wind up not meeting them. He refuses to let me feel bad and just encourages me to be kind to myself. Even though we are friends with benefits, he speaks highly of me to his friends and even his family/brother. He has spoken to his brother about how much of a good woman I am and how he's thankful for me listening to him and validating his feelings. Do I continue to stay single because I made this promise to myself, or do I let him become, I think he might say, come close to me because he seems like a great person? I also wonder if part of the reason why he is so stuck onto me is because, in a way, you cannot actually have me for a year has made me somewhat unattainable, and he likes the chase. Also, please don't SLUT shame me for having a friends with benefits. I was in a dead bedroom for like a year and I have needs. Okay. All right, Mercury. Here's the thing. You actually have the answer to your own question, and I'm going to point it out to you here. You have to realize that in this life that we live, the number one person that you have to serve before anyone else is yourself. And the only person's needs and wants you really have to be concerned about is your own. Because until you satisfy your own needs and wants, that is the only time where it's possible for you to even be pouring into anyone else's cup. So what do I mean by that? You have laid out the reason for you being single at this point in your life is because you need some time to figure out who you are outside of a relationship. You clearly stated that, right? You've been in a relationship from 15 to 22, then 22 to 26, and then 26 to 30, and then 30 to 33. You haven't gotten a break yet, like a real solid break to figure yourself out. And clearly, you think for yourself and your growth, there needs to be an extended period of time where you get to focus on you. That's not a crime. In fact, that's a great realization to have. Many people never get that realization. And I understand it's a little bit unfortunate in terms of the timing and how great of a guy he is, but you need to stick to your guns in terms of what did you come here to do? This time is supposed to be for you. And the reality of it is, I know you're saying that, he's great and he invests in you and he's not trying to weigh you down or anything and he supports you. But the reality of it is you will not accomplish what you came here to accomplish if you start building a relationship with him. And I know this is going to be painful to hear, but if you want my true, honest advice, it would be to let him down and let him know, look, I appreciate everything that you're doing. I appreciate how you support me. I appreciate how you're showing up and all that good stuff. But I need this time to be for me. And it can't be focused on us building a relationship if I'm going to make it about figuring out myself and allowing myself to know what I need. Right. And just understanding myself better outside of a relationship. And we're just heading towards that. And I can't do that. I need to let this time be for me. Now, the thing that you're not going to like about this, I'll be honest with you, which is probably why you won't listen to my advice. But the thing you're not going to like about this is when you say that, you're actually going to have to end the friends with benefits as well. Because if you don't, you're going to put yourself in a position where you're turning a guy down who wants to commit to you, but then also still sleeping with him, thinking that you're doing something for yourself when you're actually doing something for him. Because you're going to be giving him the benefit of sleeping with you while also saying, don't expect a relationship or feel like you need to commit to me. That's a mistake on your part, which will create a scenario in which he'll say, okay, so I guess I'll sleep with you still, get the friends with benefits, but then never have to actually commit to you. You lose that way. So the reason I'm saying that is if you're going to adopt the mindset that like, yes, my growth is the most important thing and I need to just focus on me, then you're also going to have to let go of this, thing of this friends with benefits thing. If in the scenario, and this is why I said ChatGPT might not be able to answer this for you. In the scenario in which you decide that, look, I'm not ready to end this friends with benefits situation. I'm not ready to let go of this guy, whatever the case may be. Then you might as well let him commit himself to you. Because what you can't have is an in-between stage. You can't have a guy who's sleeping with you, but then not committing to you. You also can't have a situation in which you're kind of like one or the other. Like you have to choose one side or the other. Either there's commitment and he gets to sleep with you and it's clear where you guys are going, or if he's not sleeping with you, then there's no sort of friends with benefits. We hang out, spend time, because that's not even accomplishing your goal anyways of figuring out who you are, right? You can't say that I want to figure out and understand myself better, but I want to have a friends with benefits that I sleep with on a regular basis, right? You're not allowing yourself to be involved in yourself. If you really want to find this journey of yourself and self-discovery, then you should go celibate for a period of time and really figure yourself out outside of any sort of relationship with the man, whether it be physical or emotional, if you really want to rediscover yourself. Now, if you're saying, I don't really need that, that sounds like too much, whatever the case may be, or I really like this guy, then actually build a relationship with this guy. Don't be in a limbo state, and definitely do not be in no friends with benefits with him, right? So if you're saying that you can't just let this go, then convert this into a real relationship. So you, instead of saying we're going to sleep together for friends with benefits, you let him know, hey, I'm not going to be doing the friends with benefits thing anymore. And I'm only looking for something serious, and then let him respond to you accordingly by committing himself to you. And then you can at least sleep with him knowing that he's committing himself to you, because what I don't want this to go on where you're continuing to just be friends with benefits, continuing to sleep with him, and then continuing to say, but I still want to be single, but I'm still not sure because I kind of like you, but I'm still not sure because I don't want to date. That limbo state will hurt both of you, confuse both of you, and leave both of you unsatisfied. Pick one side or the other. Now, I can't decide for you which side you choose, but based on the questions I just asked you, you have to answer for yourself which side makes the most sense for me and my own desires. Okay? All right, chat, that's the show for today. For those of you who have any questions for me, whether you want to ask it in our free section, in our premium section, or our private section, you can access all of those links by going to the link in my bio on TikTok or in my description on YouTube. For those of you who are watching the show on TikTok and you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is just above my head on the top left corner of the screen. It's just my name, Tomisin_Tub. If you're watching on YouTube, you can just go down into my description and find the link to my Instagram there as well. For those of you watching on TikTok and you want to rewatch the show from start to finish because maybe you missed some parts or you came late, you can always rewatch the show by going to my YouTube channel, which is just my first name, Tomisin, Tomisin. Type it in on YouTube. You'll be able to see when you go into the live stream section, the live section of my YouTube channel, you'll see this live stream with the same name and all the other live streams I've done since the beginning of time in that same place, and you'll have the YouTube and the TikTok live chat embedded in the video, so you won't miss a second of conversation that we have in the Players Club. Okay, you guys want to know my schedule? My new schedule is Mondays and Thursdays for the live streams, but obviously I do post on my YouTube channel even videos that don't go live on the live stream. Okay, it's just a temporary schedule while I readjust some things for the new version, I guess we can call it, of season 2 of the show. Okay, so it's only going to take me a while to do that, and then we'll get back to our regular schedule. All right, so Mondays and Thursdays 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for now. So I'll be back again on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll have more conversation. Make sure you're subscribed to me on YouTube because that's where I post a bulk of my content and amazing in-depth analysis on relationships and men so you can grow in your understanding. Until we meet again on Monday, I bid you adieu. Hasta la vista, sayonara, adios, ciao, salam, baoni, arrivederci, bon voyage! And I'll see you on Monday next week at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It feels like such a long time away whenever I say Monday on the Thursday. But I'll be posting lots throughout the weekend as well. So make sure you're subscribed to me on YouTube, okay? I'll see you Monday. Bye for now. I love you so much.